So today we are talking about the most common mistakes I see in beginners mixes, from vocals to drums to the music, everything. I'm not gonna make the intro too long, so let's go. Let's get straight into it. Before we even press play, the first and number one most important issue I see is why. There's no why for why people are doing things. I'll get a session from someone and there'll be all of these notches in the EQ or compressors going crazy or this, and I'd be like, well, why did y'all do that? What were y'all going for? And they'll be like, I don't know, or I saw this person do it on a YouTube, or I got this template from someone and this is how it was set up. I'd be like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Imagine if every single movie you saw, let me calm down. Sometimes I be getting a little too emotionally charged when I'm talking about this, just the passion. But imagine if every single movie used the same template. Wouldn't that be boring? It kind of happens sometimes where, a certain line of movies use the same template and it gets boring. Oftentimes, the first version of that is the best one. That's the one that everybody loves. And they try to make the sequel and the prequel or whatever they do, whatever it's called. And like those don't really hit the same as the first one. Templates just don't work, especially if you're going for greatness. So for the why, when you're doing something, what's the point? What are you going for? What are you trying to achieve? When you're at the stage of mixing a song, what are we trying to achieve, right? We're trying to achieve maximum amount of emotion for whatever the record calls for. The listener hears the song, they feel the purpose of the art. When I play someone a sad song, I want them to feel the sadness. Let's not act like there wasn't a goal for the creation of the song. Oh, I'm trying to make this sad song about this sad thing that happened to me in my life, or maybe a sad perspective or whatever. And you make the song, and then you produce the song and make the production and the music arrangement around all of that. And then at the mix stage, we somehow forget that the song is supposed to be sad, and we're making it all bright and super loud and compressed and doing all crazy notchy stuff. What does that have to do with the sadness of the record? Is it making it feel more sad or more just different or something else that makes no sense? And now people put that out and you can't even resonate with the sadness of the record. It has been lost in the mix phase because there was no why for the reasoning behind whatever move people are making. Extremely important, all right? So for me, when I mix songs, I don't even think of myself as a mixing engineer because that's like too technical. I do the technical stuff before I even start mixing so I can be completely freely in creative mode. I don't know what it should be called, but after I do the technical stuff, I don't even think about mixing anymore. I don't think about doing anything right or wrong. I think about what the song is about and how to make that the best song that it could be. Are you maximizing the emotion of the song, the potential of the song? Like, I love to parallel mixing to a certain phase in movie creation because let's go back to a sad movie. If you were to watch a sad movie, you as a viewer of this movie can pinpoint the moments clearly in a movie where someone would most likely cry. You could do that, and you don't even make movies. I don't make movies, but most of y'all watching this video probably don't make movies, statistically speaking. If you can do that, the listener should be able to do that with your songs. They should be able to pinpoint the moments in the song where it's like, that hit me right there, and I could cry right now. They should be able to do that. That has nothing to do with using soothe on your vocal or the song being -6 LUFS. It may or may not have anything to do with those things. The goal is for when we get to a certain moment in the song is for someone to feel like they should cry. The same way in a movie, the color grading or whatever, the framing, the scenes, like everything is leading up to that moment to maximize the most potential for the viewer to cry. That's the art form of what we're doing here. It's not about all of these plug-in stuff. If you're EQing a vocal or a kick drum or whatever you're doing, is this enhancing the emotion of the record or doing the opposite? Now we're going to actually open up some plugins and do all of this stuff. So the over trap is what I'm calling this right now, is the over EQing, the over clipping, over smart plugin processing, like all of this stuff. They're just ODing on that stuff. So this is a song that I've mixed and there's still all the stuff on here. We'll just play like right here.
Say this to you, baby. Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it.
So what we have here is just a few plugins on the lead vocal, because for the emotion of the record, how the song needs to feel and sound, I'm just darkening the vocal a little bit right there. And then I'm using the SSL to EQ the vocal. Probably not even a lot of compression. And then right here, we got a little RC20 going, but I'm really just using the magnetic on here just for a little bit of that flavor or movement for real. And then another little high pass, clean up a little bit of stuff, and just subtle dynamic EQ here. Subtle. There's one notch on this whole entire vocal chain. One notch, just reshaping. And if we just bypass all of this stuff,
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
then bring it back.
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
All of that is just supports the narrative of the vocal performance. Like there's nothing else going on. There's some auto tune on here, nothing. And I've done automation on the vocal, as you can see. But what people will do, they'll come with the Pro Q and they'll be playing this vocal. Let's turn the analyzer on. We gotta have the analyzer on because we gotta mix with our eyes, right?
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Not a word, not a word, not a word. No, 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 no. Not a word, not a word, not a word, no.
They'll start doing stuff like that for what? I don't know, because they're mixing with their eyes. So that's going to be the first step. Okay, now we have to compress the vocal. So let's get a CLA 76 going. And maybe I want it to be a little warm. So let's use the Bluey. I got to compress 3 to 5 dB. So let's go in that range. What does that have to do with the feeling and the emotion of the record? Maybe nothing, but let's do it anyway.
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it.
So as we see, the auto gain makeup is not working that well with this plugin. It got way louder, so I need to compensate on the output a little bit. But will you do that? I don't know. Also, this needs to be at 3, right? Because that's like the setting that everybody uses.
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Okay, that seems okay. To my ear, this is already like getting flat. Then I'll be like, okay, I need a little more EQ, and let me go for a color EQ. I did subtractive EQ with the Pro Q, so let me bring up an SSL channel. Probably, you know, we gotta brighten it, of course, and let's just see what we should do.
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it.
That's cool. And now we should put an LA2A on there. We're just doing this and we're just putting plugins on and we're not even taking a moment to listen and feel what changes are actually occurring. We're just doing stuff. But let's continue.
Shut the hell. Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Not a word, not a word, not a word. No, 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 no. Not a word, not a word, no.
Okay, so we're about at 3 right there. So that's nice, right? We got a good 3 to 5 dB compression on the 1176, around 3 dB of compression on the LA2A. We are safe. We're doing so great right now. We're good to go. And this is minimal. But let me just put a little bit of multi-band compression on like the whole vocal bus. So let's go with the C4. C4 is goated. You're so right. People overcook the shit out of their mixes. Mix bus is the worst. Right. Mix bus is the worst culprit. So imagine overcooking your lead vocal and then overcooking the mix, you're done for. But let's continue. We don't need to listen and hear what the vocal needs. We should just click on a preset. So let's go to the classic pop vocal preset. I know, there it is. Let's go to the classic pop vocal preset and let's see if we should tweak from there. So let's bypass and see what it sounds like when it comes on.
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Shut the
Fire. It gets a little too bright, so maybe I'll turn these down a little bit.
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Shut the hell.
Fire. It kind of feels like it's getting a little harsh, so let's use Soothe real quick, and I think we'll be good. I think this will be a fire vocal chain, right? We don't even need to adjust much of this stuff down here. Let's just do something like this.
Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
What an amazing vocal sound we have now, right? That's what people do. Oh, I forgot I had this parallel, but this parallel is great. This is what people would do anyway. So we got a little 1176.
Shut the hell.
Not enough. So we're gonna have to do more compression than that. Since we're using the bluey on the actual vocal, maybe we should switch it to this one and let's see how much compression we're doing now. And let's just blend it in subtly, just tucking it underneath, right? So this isn't even the craziest. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plugins. That's it. Just with 6 plugins, we're demonstrating this. And then we got a little parallel compression with the CLA 76. So let's bypass all of that. Let's see where we were at first. And then the other version. Whose voice sounds like that? It's all fizzy and weird, but this is what I'm getting. We've taken out all of the life and personality with all of these notches, and we've just made it so that all we can focus on is all of the information up here. But what about the mid-range? Like, none of this stuff right here serves the song. In order to not go down that path, let's start first with a tone mindset. If we're listening to this song, what do we hear? What do we feel? I'm gonna even bypass the effects. You hear that personality, shut the hell up, yeah, I said it. But it's an R&B song, so there's a little bit of smoothness to it, but there's a little bit of like, I am annoyed in his performance. So we want to maximize that. I've turned the automation off, but I've done a lot of that maximization with automation. So if I turn the automation back on to read, then we get that personality with some of the automation, how we've brought his performance to life naturally. We just leaned in more to his performance with automation, which is like impossible to do with a compressor or any plugin. On the, yeah, I said it, making sure that hits properly for how he says it. If you a guy and you watching this video, when the lady be talking too much, you're like, you just want to be like, shut the hell up. Like, you don't say it because you're a gentleman, but you know the feeling. Tap into that feeling when you're mixing a song. I want the people to feel and resonate with this message and this emotion that we have all felt. We use technical tools maybe to achieve that purpose, but the same way a camera is a technical tool, or the color grading software is a technical tool. We're using technical tools to communicate the creative. So automation is what I've done first here, but you want to start with a tone mindset is what I was actually talking about. I'm getting the same kind of effect that someone might want to get as far as pushing the mid-range and the personality out of his voice by just doing 2 moves on the SSL, dipping down 240 and a little bit of the bass. So I'm thinking of this as a 3-band EQ when I first start EQing a vocal. I'm thinking about, this is my mid-band control, this is my low control, and this is my high control. Nothing insane or crazy. And then we've come again, just really detailing that top end. So this is where I think that digital EQs or plugins, even like Soothe or multi-band compressors, dynamic EQs, this is where they shine, on that last 1 to 5% that you wouldn't be able to do in the analog world. They help with just those small, fine details. Yes, you could do tonal EQ with this Pro Q4, but you know, are you really gonna limit yourself to 4 bands of EQ on a Pro Q4? I don't know, especially if I have the analyzer on, which is why I turn the analyzer off. And then we're gonna blemish it with the effects and really create the feeling and the space and the picture, the cinema of the performance. Bro, please help me with compression. I focus way too much on the VU meter. I usually go 1176 LA2A gray from UAD. Well, that's where you're messing up already. Why do you usually go 1176 LA2A? That's what we're talking about in this video. This is exactly what we're talking about. Are you choosing the 1176 and the LA2A because it serves the song? And that's literally the plugins that we just used. You're proving me right. This can't even be real. This got to be trolling. First thing I truly recommend is to just start with 1 compressor. Put it in every single position possible on a vocal, on a kick drum, on a snare, on a piano. Pause, put it in every single position. It kind of sounds crazy, but try everything you can with the 1176 on everything, all the ratios, all buttons in, all of that, so you can really learn and understand what this plugin does to sound. And then do the same thing with this version of it as well. Do that with both versions. Then do the same thing with the LA2A. Then you'll have a better understanding of when to use it and why to use it. Because if I were to ask you, why are you using the 1170? Let's ask, why do you use the 1176 in the LA2A? 1176 for peak limiting, ratio 12:1, and then 2A to smooth the rest of the vocal and like let it sit in the beat. That sound like, where'd you learn that from? Any tips for tracking on your own outside of the standard template preset advice to make it more efficient, like unknown go to short? See, this what y'all, this the issue, y'all. Unknown go to shortcuts ain't no shortcuts. What they say is shortcuts have your career cut short. It's just you gotta spend time with it. You gotta really practice. Like what I was just telling him is take the 1176 and put it on everything, put it in every position. Like there ain't no shortcut to doing that. I can't tell you something right now that'll give you that experience. You just have to experience that. I can't give you no shortcut to GOAT. That's like Michael Jordan saying, this is how you become a 6-time NBA champion. You just do this and then you could become that tomorrow. Like, no. You feel me? Like, you just gotta put in the time and the effort. People who are trying to give you these templates, we just talked about templates. It doesn't work. It's like a movie. Every single movie cannot be used with a template. Like I can't just slap a template onto a movie and now it's a, what is it called? A box office hit or something like that. I forgot what it's called, but it don't work like that. And it makes sense in every other context. But for some reason in music, people are like, oh, I could just slap these presets on in this template and like, it's gonna go crazy. Imagine if you did that with a movie. Imagine if they did that with TV shows. If they did that with classic paintings and art of our time. They just templated it. It wouldn't hit the same. I want to say, this is not something I made up. This is how it always has been. This is not new. Like this is as old as when mixing first began. You feel me? So I think somewhere along the way, when this whole thing got democratized, it was lost. And this is just the art form of what mixing is. I think we've talked enough about a lot of the things that people are doing with vocals. Let's go to the second point on the outline that I have is boomy bass, like OD on the bass, right? Let's go right here where we have just a regular bass line and a kick, like nothing crazy. Now that's nice low end. And again, this is about the song. Every decision that we're making is to serve the song. There's no reason for this to sound like the biggest bass in the world, one, but it's an R&B record and we do want to have that bottom in there so you can really feel that. So there's a little bit of the genre and the kind of tendencies of a genre that you think about, but at the end of the day, those are not rules that you have to abide by. There are some R&B songs with crazy low end and there's some who have low end like maybe a pop record would have. But just for where this song is lying at, that's the feeling that the low end gave me. And all we're doing here is very simple stuff. If we bypass this, we just listen to the kick and the bass. It's not bad. I think maybe the bass could use a little bit more low end, but the kick isn't terrible. But we just bring all of these back and just a subtle lift. Especially on this note right here, we can really feel that sub happen. We're just boosting just a smidge of like 30. But what I see people doing on an EQ like this or on a Pool Tech or anything is they'll just be boom, going crazy. And I'd be like, that's why this is so boomy. You feel me? It's already a low frequency instrument. On the bass with the SSL, I'm boosting just a little bit, 1 dB, 35. Subtle, but people go crazy with the low end and that's like the first thing. And then they wonder why, oh, I can't get my mix past like -12 because you've cranked the low end OD, or the 808 is like louder than the vocals, which can be a vibe sometimes. There are hip hop records where the 808 needs to be going crazy like that. I'm not saying that's wrong, but it's like, what's the context? If you reference other songs while you're mixing, you can hear that you're going crazy with the low end. If you want heavy low end on a song, make a playlist of songs that you like the low end on, so that you can know what heavy low end sounds like in your studio. Because a lot of times it can just be your monitoring situation. You could be mixing wherever you're at and you just don't have good low end translation in your monitoring system. So the best way is to fix your monitoring system, but I am understanding the climate and a lot of people aren't going to do that. At least you could reference songs that are out in your mixing position and see what the low end sounds like there. That leads me to my next point: distorting the entire mix just for loudness sake. Again, everything that we're talking about today returns back to point number one. Why? This is an R&B record. Why would it need to be -8, -7, -6 levels? What is the point, the purpose? Why? I don't know how loud this song is, but let's just go to the hook.
Hell up, yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. Shut the hell up, yeah.
11 luffs. This is a situation where I probably could have just put that on the kick and the bass or something, but I just did it on the whole record for some reason. But it's not doing a lot. It's just chopping off peaks. But I still wanted to make sure that if I chop off these peaks, we still maintain that punch. Because I don't want to chop off so much just for loudness sake that the feeling and the emotion of the record is now gone. The best thing about loudness is the initial impact of loudness. So if I'm listening to a song that's -12 luffs, and then the next song comes on that's -10 luffs. Ooh, that's hitting harder. That's feeling more energetic, more exciting. I think maybe I might like that better. But most people are listening to music on some kind of platform where it's normalized. If they're listening on social media, on their phone, the audio is normalized. If they're listening on Apple, Spotify, Tidal, the audio is normalized. So that effect no longer exists in the way that most people will hear the song for the first time, where they have their first chance to fall in love or out of love with the record. If you know that information, you can do things in your mix so that you can have a better chance at someone falling in love with your record. If I crush this song to -8, 7 luffs, when it plays back, it's going to actually sound lower than songs that are like 10 luffs, 11 luffs, because of the normalization algorithm. If I'm on Apple Music listening to a playlist, I don't want to have to turn the volume up and down for every song because these other songs are louder and then these ones are quieter. Like, that's annoying. Okay, then we have a little bit of limiting. Let's see what's going on right here. Subtle stuff. 2 dB of limiting, right? And then we got another little bit of limiting. This is like just a little subtle amount of limiting right here. And then this is more so true peak limiting that I'm using here, but it does do a little bit of as well. No more than 0.4. So the bulk of my limiting is happening with this one limiter right here. And we're good for this type of record. Now, if I wanted to be loud, I would have mixed this record totally different. The loudness does not happen on the master. If I want the song to be loud, I'm going to mix for loudness. And if I want the song to be loud, it must be a song that benefits from the loudness aesthetic. We got this clipper going. So let's just go even more OD with the clipper, like what I would normally see. About 4 or 5 dB of clipping, not too crazy, you know what I'm saying? We're not gonna lose our minds, but we're just gonna, we're gonna do a little clipping, right? We already got a lot of gain going into it, but let's see how much more we can get. Nice. we've done it. We've gotten to 8 LUFs, but let's do a quick A/B. So let's level match this. So we'll have to turn this down. Now, let's A/B this because this is more like a scenario on how this will be played back on streaming. Let's start with the more limited crush smash one. Now let's listen to the original mix. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I'm gonna play it one more time. The crushed one. Now, the lead vocal is about the same level, but the way the drums are hitting, totally different. The drums in the crushed one, it's almost like it's just ducked down so much, you know, obviously because we've had to limit and clip the drums. But that punch, the way the low end travels throughout the record in the original mix, it's like way more fulfilling. There's a hug down there that is lost when we clip it and we limit it. And this is not even crazy. Like, I'm purposefully not going OD because the point of this video is for people to think about why they're doing stuff. What's best for the song. Not necessarily like what's the best loudness score that I can get on this song. What's just best for the song in general. But there's a huge stark difference on how the song feels with this much clipping and this much limiting on this type of record. But there are songs to where this is like an advantage to clip it and to distort it like that. So it's just knowing the why. So y'all, let me know what y'all think about the video. If this is helpful, if this is good for, you know, your mindset and your approach to mixing. Tap into the Discord. We chop it up in the Discord all the time. If you want to buy any gear, I got some affiliate links in the description. Affiliate links to Zounds. If you want to buy any actual like physical audio gear, please use that affiliate link. It helps support this channel tremendously. I also have affiliate links with Waves, Safari Audio, they are now called, I think. Shout out to them for associating themselves with this channel. If you're liking the vibe, like and subscribe. I'll see y'all next video.